Okay, thanks for right, just to make sure that you're able to see me clearly as well. I think I'm blurring out. Okay, yeah, I think it should be good. You should be able to see me very clearly. And okay, as usual, right now it's about 8:02. Okay, let's just wait for about 3 more minutes. At 8:05 we will actually get started. So if this is the first time you are actually joining us on Facebook Live, just to do a quick introduction, my name is Bowen and I'm the co-founder of Ultimate Investing. So tonight we will be talking about this very interesting company called TSMC, okay, Taiwan Semiconductor. And what we are going to talk about is basically, just a few days ago, they released their earnings, okay, for quarter three 2020. So there's actually quite a lot of important nuggets that we can actually get from there. And I just thought that I wanted to do a presentation on what I have learned actually from that particular earnings call. But of course, I'm not going to just talk on the earnings call. I'm also going to give you guys a background of the company. So if let's say this is the first time you're hearing this company, you will also be able to understand as well. So for those of you who have not joined us before, okay, so just hang on for a while and we will actually get started in about 2 more minutes at 8:05 p.m. Okay, yeah, so just keep the comments coming for those of you who just joined us. I think I see right now we have 28 of you live on Facebook. Okay, just comment 888 inside the Facebook chat group. And of course, do give us a like and if possible, give us a heart. Okay, give us a heart. Okay, you can see the heart shit at the bottom. Yeah, just help us to click on the heart as well. That will definitely be very helpful and I'll be happier lah. And you'll make my day. I would have a wonderful evening. Right, so we just hang on for about 2 more minutes. Okay, 2 more minutes and then we will get started. All right, I see Chen Guo is here. Hey, Chen Guo, very long never see you. Yeah, whoever is joining, I'm able to see you. Okay, thank you so much, Pei and May as well. Right, so we will be starting in about 1 more minute. Okay, so just let's hang on for about 1 more minute and then we will actually get started. And I think inside the Telegram, I have also shared with all of you that tonight there will be a special lucky draw. Okay, so we are going to pick up a lucky winner and this winner is going to walk away with a one-to-one consultation, okay, with me. And the last time I did it with Eileen. Okay, I met up with one of our audience over here, Eileen, and I think we spent about, I don't know, about 1.5 to 2 hours. So yeah, it was a really good conversation. And if Elaine is here, maybe you can just comment in the chat group. How do you find the one-to-one sharing, whether is it good or not, right? And of course, later on, one of you is going to win this particular prize of a one-to-one consultation. So again, how do you win? Very simple. All you need to do is just click on the share button. So by the end of this video, we will actually collate all the people who shared. Okay, and those who shared, you will stand a chance to win this grand prize. All right, and of course, for those of you who help us to share, okay, we also want to be appreciative for you. What you will receive is basically you will get a PDF copy of the slides that I'm going to share with you later on. So you will get a PDF copy of the slides that I'm going to share for my presentation later on. Okay, so the time now is 8:05. So let me get started right now. Let me just get started. Okay, you are able to see my screen, my PowerPoint right now. Can you just do me a favor and type in this 4-letter word TSMC? TSMC. Just type in TSMC if you are able to see my PowerPoint right now. Okay, yeah. So once again, a very good evening to all of you. So it's been some time since I've conducted or rather do a training on Facebook Live. So it's really good to see all of you again. And this particular company, I really love it a lot. Some of you might have heard me sharing about this company. And of course, I've been sharing about some of the industry that I'm looking out. So for example, industries like 5G and industry like semiconductor. So this will also be discussed in today's presentation as well. Okay, under one of the earnings call for TSMC. So before I move on, I just want to have a quick disclaimer. All right, is that whatever I share with you today is purely for education purpose. So if you love what I share, if you believe this is a good company, okay, so please do your own due diligence. Okay, just make sure you do your own homework as well. And just to give you guys a quick fact about this company, for those of you who are not sure what this company does, okay, so Taiwan Semiconductor is one of Taiwan's biggest companies, and it is also one of the world's largest semiconductor companies. Okay, in fact, if I'm not wrong, it could even be the largest company in Taiwan. All right, but of course, over here, they're just a little bit safe with the word. So they say one of the Taiwan largest. And again, they're one of the world largest semiconductor companies. So just to let you know that this company is really, really huge. And the next thing, what TSM does is basically they actually design and manufacture microchips that are used in communication device like your handphone, okay, and also your radios, television, and as well as the medical equipment. So basically, if you talk about all the chip that you see inside all these tech devices and all this equipment, yeah, so they are the one that actually manufacture all this wafer, okay, and also the chip. And of course, last quick fact that I have for all of you is that Apple, okay, yeah, the Apple that we are all familiar with, Apple accounts for about 1/5, which is about 20% of TSMC's annual revenue. And the North America is actually the TSMC's largest market. So although this is a Taiwan company, okay, this is a Taiwan company, but it's listed both in Taiwan as well as in US. And most of the customer, as you can see over here, it is actually coming from North America, right? So I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, and of course with the launch of the iPhone 12, okay, which is the latest model that comes with 5G. So one of the things that a lot of people is focusing on is that this phone is going to be a lot faster. It's going to take up less battery. Okay, it's going to be a lot more energy saving. All right, and of course there's a lot of new features that is inside this particular phone. So the thing is, how come iPhone is able to come up with this kind of new advancement in technology? How come they are able to come up with faster phone that uses less battery? Again, that is important in this particular chip called the A14 chip. All that is possible because of this A14 chip. And again, in order for this A14 chip to be that good, okay, the technology behind it is actually this thing called a 5 nanometer process. Okay, 5 nanometer process. Later on, I'm going to share more about what is this 5 nanometer, but now I just want you to remember this at the back of your mind. Okay, 5 nanometer. So we all know what is going on right now in the market. Okay, we have the COVID-19 that is, still around. All right, but the thing is, this company, very interestingly, this company is what we call COVID-19 proof. Okay, what do I mean by COVID-19 proof? Basically, it means that despite COVID-19, revenue over the last quarter increased 14.7%. Okay, revenue increased 14.7%. All right, so this is really wow. And so can everybody just type in wow, WOW, if you think that this is something that is really amazing. All right, revenue growth by 14.7% over the last quarter. So again, what actually contributed to all this growth? So I have some of the pictures over here. Some of you might make a guess. Your 5G, your phone, and the right-hand side seems like a cloud server. And of course, at the bottom, it seems like, there's a lot of, I don't know, fireworks or what. But basically, okay, why does SMNC able to grow during COVID-19 is because there's a strong demand driven by 5G smartphones, high HPC, which is actually high performance computing, as well as IoT, which is Internet of Things related appliances. So this is the three main contributor, okay, that actually help TSMC to have actually such a wonderful quarter. So I just want to share with you in terms of the revenue by platform. Okay, how does this company actually make their profit? So 46% of their revenue, that means the money that they collected, okay, 46% comes from smartphone. All right, it comes from smartphone, which includes the latest iPhone 12. And of course, HPC contributes 37%. So that is the second largest in terms of revenue by platform. And of course, the third largest is Internet of Things at 9%. Right, so something I just want to share with you is that if we look at the growth, okay, so if we compare the growth, okay, quarter to quarter, we can see that the smartphone growth actually is about 12%. Okay, HPC growth is 25%, and Internet of Things is 9% growth. All right, so just by looking at these three in terms of the growth rate, can you all share with me which segment do you think has more potential? Okay, which particular segment do you think has more potential moving forward? you can just type in the name, either smartphone, HPC, or IoT. Which one has got more potential? All right, so by now, I think most of you should be typing the second one, which is HPC. Yeah, okay, you should be typing HPC. So this is what, okay, Alan Patterson also mentioned, okay, one of the articles, he said that TSMC sees HPC as the next inflection point. And not only that, there's another article that mentioned Taiwan Semiconductor expects the main driver of its growth in the next several years to be high performance computing, overtaking its current smartphone business. So this moving forward, okay, in another 1 or 2 years, this is going to be the main driver for TSMC. All right, so it's something for us to take note. So some of you might be wondering, okay, so high performance computing, so what are some of the brands or what are some of the companies that is, that are the customer of TSMC? So basically, over here, I have these two big giant as well. One of them is NVIDIA, and the other one is AMD. So I think previously in our buy or buy series, I did share a little bit on NVIDIA, and we can also see that this is a high growth company. They are spending a lot. They are growing at a very fast pace as well. So yeah, they are actually spending, and they are actually one of the bigger customer as well, okay, for TSMC. And moving forward, they are going to give TSMC even more business. So just by looking at this growth of the HPC, you can see that the quarter-on-quarter growth is about 25%. So that also gives you a little bit idea, a quick idea of the demand, okay, coming from NVIDIA and AMD in terms of this particular segment called high performance computing, right? So this is what the CEO of TSMC, C.C. Wei, actually mentioned. He said that for the full year of 2020, although COVID-19 continued to bring some level of impact to the global economies, we also observed that COVID-19 is accelerating digital transformation. And while 5G and HPC related applications continue to drive semiconductor content enrichment. So you can see, even with COVID-19, a lot of people are moving, into the digital world, and a lot of us, for example, we probably have to buy our laptop, and we actually have to use Zoom and things like that. So the whole environment is changing, and of course, a lot of things is moving into the cloud as well. Okay, so high performance computing also is part of the cloud infrastructure, for all the hardware and everything. So again, cloud is also one of the area that I love a lot in terms of the industry that I focus on. So next up, I just want to touch on, okay, so this particular quarter, the CEO actually mentioned that they actually spend a little bit more in terms of expenses. So just to share with you where they actually spend this money on. So the first part is actually on R&D. Okay, later I'm going to share with you why R&D is extremely important for TSMC. And the next place that they actually spend more money on is actually expansion. Okay, like I said, right now, okay, based on what the CEO actually mentioned, they are reaching almost maximum capacity. That means, the demand is way higher than, what they can actually supply. The demand is just extremely high. And later, I'm going to just touch on a little bit also that I think this year is actually quite a tough year for TSMC. Why? Because of the Donald Trump, as well as, the US and the China. So what happened is that they actually have to drop off one of their largest customer, one of their big customer, which is Huawei. So TSMC used to be one of the manufacturer for Huawei chip as well, but because of this relationship between US and China, so they actually have to drop off the whole of the Huawei business. So despite that, okay, within about 1 or 2 quarter, okay, the number of customers, or the demand from other customers is basically so strong that right now they are already back at full capacity. So even without Huawei, TSMC is still doing extremely well. Okay, still doing extremely well. In fact, they are expanding because they have already reached their maximum capacity. So I just want to also touch on, okay, just now I mentioned about the latest iPhone that is using the 5 nanometer technology. So in terms of the revenue, in terms of the technology, so over here I just want to share with you in terms of some of the key numbers. For example, if we look at the largest revenue by technology, that is 35%, which is the blue color. Okay, that is under 7 nanometer. So just think of the nanometer as the technology. The smaller the number, the more high-tech it is. Okay, I repeat, the smaller the number, the more high-tech it is. So which means that 7 nanometer is more high tech than 16 nanometer. And of course, the most high tech, the most latest tech is actually the 5 nanometer. Okay, so the smaller it is, the higher tech. Okay, the harder it is to manufacture. And it's also one of the latest product, okay, in the market. So the 5 nanometer is something new, okay, but it already forms about 8% in terms of the revenue. Again, it comes a lot from the 5G smartphone. And of course, 7 nanometer right now is actually one of their key product. So that's why you can see 35% of revenue actually come from the 7 nanometer. And of course, 16 nanometer is slightly older technology, but still is very, very relevant in current market context. So it contributes about 18%. Right. So just want to share with you is that moving forward, actually TSMC mentioned that they expect 5 nanometer to actually account for about 20%. So right now it's at 8%. So they do expect that in 2021, 5 nanometer is going to increase a lot more because of the demand, and it's going to account for about 20%. So which means that it is probably going to be 5 nanometer and 7 nanometer that contributes the whole bulk of the business for TSMC. And next up, okay, just to also share with you is that over here they mentioned that 2021 will be the year of the 5 nanometer process, as giant like AMD, Qualcomm, MediaTek, Samsung, and others will be shifting to 5 nanometer. So everybody is now, jumping into the 5 nanometer. And again, TSMC is expected to lead this silicon manufacturing process. Okay, and 5 nanometer being its key ingredient this time. So I'm going to share more about this 5 nanometer, 7 nanometer, and all that. So again, let me just share with you in terms of market share, how strong TSMC is. So you can see this one is actually based on the TSMC foundry share. That means in terms of the foundry, which consists of quite a number of companies. So TSMC right now, they actually owns more than 50%. In fact, it's about 55%, okay, of the market share. So yeah, they are actually the market leader in terms of the foundry. And again, if you just look at some of their key competitor, for example, UMC as well as SMIC. UMC is another semiconductor company in Taiwan, and SMIC is actually one of the largest in China. So TSMC, in terms of the 14 nanometer and smaller, that means in terms of the high tech, okay, the high technology, which is 14 nanometer, 7 nanometer, and 5 nanometer, pretty much you can see that TSMC dominate the market. In fact, UMC and SMMC, they might not even have the technology to produce a 7 nanometer or even the 5 nanometer. So that is also why they are able to capture such a big market, is because of the technology lead that they have against their competitor. So again, if you think this is amazing, if you think this is a good company, just type in WOW. Okay, WOW inside the Facebook page. And of course, don't forget to give us a like as well as a love, okay, if you find all this information useful. And of course, don't forget to share, because if you share, you will stand a chance to win a one-to-one consultation with me over coffee or tea or whatever. Or yeah, can be Milo also. Okay, now let me share with you about Apple. So Apple, as you can see, right, previously, if you talk about the older model of Apple, they were using the processor like A5, A6, A7 model, right? So what happened is that if you look at the bottom, they used to use Samsung. So Samsung used to produce the 45 nanometer chip. Can you see that as Apple advances, the nanometer becomes smaller and smaller, from 45 to 32 to 28 to 20, and then slowly move to 10 nanometer, 7 nanometer, and of course the latest one is 5 nanometer. So from 16 nanometer onwards, can you see that they actually shift from Samsung, they actually move to TSMC. But of course it makes sense, because Apple and Samsung, they are competitor. So it doesn't make sense for Apple to give this particular manufacturing process, because it is very important to give it to one of their key competitors. So of course they prefer to have a third party with the technology to actually produce it. So pretty much we can see that even though Apple contributes about 20% of the sales to TSMC, the relationship is definitely very, very strong, because again, there is no other in my next slide, you will understand that other than Samsung, nobody so far can actually fight with TSMC in terms of technology. Right, so over here, I have some of the key company that is in the foundry business. So I have Intel, Samsung, TSMC, Global Foundries, SMIC, and UMC. So very interesting. You can see that Intel used to be one of the leading one. Okay, in 2015, they already come out with like 14 nanometer, and very quickly they move on to 10 nanometer. But pretty much they are kind of stuck with the 10 nanometer for quite some time, and now they are moving into the 7 nanometer. But what really pushed TSMC and Samsung ahead of the game is actually because of the 5 nanometer, which, as you can see, as of now, only TSMC and Samsung is able to produce the 5 nanometer. So again, like I said, the smaller it is, the better it is, the more powerful the chip is going to be. So again, once your iPhone is using the 5 nanometer, there's no way it's going to downgrade to a 7 nanometer or even the 10 nanometer. Right. So again, now from here, you can already see that TSMC and Samsung is having the lead as compared to some of the other competitor in the market. So again, I just want to use this particular picture to share with you is that TSMC and Samsung is leading the game. All right. And of course, Intel, SMIC, Global Foundries, and UMC is slightly at the back. Okay, slightly behind. So now again, I just want to also share with you in terms of the product launch. So during the earnings call, the CEO and of course the team as well, they also shared some of the exciting project that they're actually working on in terms of the new product that might be coming up. So over here, TSMC announces, right, the 4 nanometer process, which is an enhanced version of the 5 nanometer process. So like I said, the 4 nanometer is just an upgraded version. Okay. So what kinds of improvement are we looking at? So of course, the first one, we have more power. The second one is lower power consumption. And the third one, which is extremely powerful, is that the cost is even lower. Right. So as you can see, when TSMC, if once they actually come out with the 4 nanometer, so again, probably in the future, your iPhone is going to be using the 4 nanometer technology, okay, which again will give you more power, lower power consumption, and of course, the pricing will be a lot more competitive as well. Okay. So that's why you see it is extremely important in this particular area, because in order for iPhone to come out with better phone, okay, of course, this is what people look at. They look at more power, they look at better power consumption. So a lot of people thought that this is actually is because Apple is really great, but without the technology from TSMC, okay, of these foundries, it is probably not that easy lah. So again, it is very important. So the better they become, okay, the easier it is for all these phone companies to come out with even better product. And of course, in terms of the timeline, okay, so N4 basically is 4 nanometer. So N4 first production targeted is actually next year, fourth quarter 2021. Okay, and of course, volume production, that means mass production, okay, they are expected to actually start in 2022, which is again not too far, okay, not too far, which is just 2 years down the road. So again, with this enhancement from 5 nanometer to 4 nanometer, you realize that it is better, faster, and not only that, it is also cheaper. So this is very, very important. That's why as it goes down, it becomes better and better. So just now we talked about 4 nanometer. So as you can see, TSMC is already also planning out for their next product, which is even better, which is the 3 nanometer. All right, so the 4 nanometer is like an enhanced version, like a same, is pretty much the same tier, but an enhanced version. But the 3 nanometer is another level, okay, which is much better. So over here, as you can see, N3, which is 3 nanometer, will have 70% larger density gain. Okay, so when you have a more density gain, that means you are able to put more things inside. So for example, right now, all your phone have a lot of different feature. You have your 5G is able to look at infrared, etc., this and that. So in order for them to have all these feature, okay, they need to have more density. So again, with N3, they can actually pack more things inside your phone. So now you realize why your phone is able to become smaller and smaller, partly because of this and advancement in technology. And not only that, not only are you able to pack more stuff into the same old thing, okay, it gives you 15% extra boost in terms of performance and up to 30% power reduction, which means that your battery is going to last even longer as compared to the 5 nanometers. So can you see this is easily another level, much better than the latest technology that we have, which is the 5 nanometer. So once again, we look at the timeline. When is this going to be ready? Again, the entry, which is 3 nanometer, first production targeted 2021 and volume production in second quarter 2022. So pretty much this is going to come out pretty much on the same timeline as the 4 nanometer. All right. So which you could also see that moving forward, the next generation of iPhone, they could be using this particular technology, which is the 3 nanometer, so that they can actually put in more stuff, more power, more juice, at the same time, better battery saving into your same old iPhone, right? So we can see in terms of the product launch, they started right now, the leading technology that they have is the 5 nanometer, but they are already coming out with the 4 nanometer, and they are also coming out with the 3 nanometer. So what's next? Okay, so right now, I just want you guys to actually type in, what do you think is next? After 4 nanometer, 3 nanometer, what do you think is the next product that they're actually coming out with? All right, so you probably guess it right. So you're looking at the 2 nanometer, and yes, that is also potentially coming out. So as you can see over here, potential N2, which is 2 nanometer, being developed in their expanded facility in Hsinchu, which is in Taiwan. So just now, you remember we mentioned that they actually spend a little bit more in terms of the expenses. One is on the R&D. So they spend a little bit more to develop the 4 nanometer as the 3 nanometer. At the same time, they are also expanding their facility. So this new expanded facility, okay, is actually meant for this new 2 nanometer wafer plant, okay, in Hsinchu. So again, the management did not officially announce, this 2 nanometer, but of course, you just go and Google. There's a lot of news, that is already out lah. So again, like I said, it's potential, but I do see that this is pretty much true lah. Okay, this is pretty much true. And of course, you see, in order for TSMC to stay ahead of the game, what is very important is in order for them to maintain their technology leadership position. So that will allow them to actually capture the industry mega trend of 5G, as well as the HPC, which is the high performance computing. Right, so next up, let's look at the growth. Okay, let's look at the growth of this particular industry. So the foundry overall revenue is projected to grow by 14% year on year in third quarter 2020. Right, so TSMC is, but okay, this is by TrendForce. This is by TrendForce. So they say overall the industry is projected to grow at about 14%. But this is what the CEO actually mentioned in the latest earnings call. He mentioned that TSMC is expected to outperform the foundry revenue growth and grow by about 30% in 2020. This is what he actually said inside the earnings call. And when he says something like this, you know that pretty much it's going to be true. Okay, if he dared to say out, it's probably going to be true. But again, these are just forecasts. So again, there might be, unforeseen circumstances. But other than that, I do see that, they know that they are actually much better than a lot of competitor out there. Their margin is a lot better as well. So I do see that 30% is definitely feasible for TSMC. So again, this is a wow. If you think this is amazing for this company, okay, again, just type in a wow, right? So next up, I just want to also touch on some of the performance of this particular company. How has it performed? So again, we are going to run through some of the financial check. So in terms of financial check, we have 7 of them. First one is growing revenue. We want this company to be making more and more profit. Earnings per share, okay, net profit also increasing. Cash flow is healthy and also positive and growing. Return on equity more than 15% in terms of the management check, and the net margin is more than 10%. Interest coverage, looking at the debt, okay, are they able to pay off the debt? Okay, again, this is more than 5. And last but not least, in terms of the valuation, we are going to look at PEG to be less than 2. So this is basically the 7 things that we will be going through in terms of the financial. So if I over here I have the financial for TSMC, I'm just going to go through one by one, starting with the revenue. So if we look from the left to the right, okay, from 2010 all the way to the latest, which is TTM, pretty much you can see that it has been growing, and it is definitely positive over the last 10 years. So that really shows the growth for this particular company. And next up, we look at the earnings per share. Once again, you can see that it is really, really amazing. You can see the growth. You can see that this number just increased year after year. Okay, so again, it shows you that there's actually huge potential when it comes to earnings per share, the profitability. And next up, we look at the cash flow as well. So cash flow is positive throughout the 10 years. So that again is fantastic, okay, for a company like this. Next up, we are looking at the margin, the net margin. So we are looking at more than 10%. And as you can see, this is way more than 10%. This is like 30%, triple, 300% better than what we are looking out for. And last but not least, return on equity more than 15%. This company is giving us an ROE of about 28, easily above 20%. So once again, All the numbers are just, exceptionally fantastic. And last but not least, in terms of the debt, okay, in terms of are they able to pay off the debt in terms of the interest? We are looking at more than 5. Okay, we are looking at more than 5, but this is 200. So okay, again, okay, without a doubt, that's definitely amazing. So last but not least, we want to look at the valuation in terms of whether this is undervalued or overvalued. So we're going to use PEG. So PEG, we are looking at less than 2. So I'm projecting a growth rate of 20%. Okay, of course, just now the CEO mentioned 30%. I just want to be a little bit safer. Okay, so I just put in 20%. And even with a growth rate, okay, a forecasted growth rate of 20% over the next 3 to 5 years, with a PE of 28 right now, the PEG is at 1.4, and that again, it is a pass. So right now, as you can see, just by running through the 7 financial check, pretty much everything is passed. Okay, and yeah, really great number. So again, this is a wow. So if you like the numbers, if you like the financial of this company, just type in 888 if you love the financial of this company. And of course, don't forget to give us a like and also give us some love. All right, and also do help us to share so that more people can actually benefit by sharing. All right, so with that, okay, I pretty much come to the end, and of course, like what I always do, in the past, I have this thing called buy or buy. Either you BUY buy or buy. So today, I'm just going to do something different because this is earnings call sharing. So yeah, basically, I just want to ask you whether for this particular company, are you going to pick up the phone, or are you going to put down the phone? All right, so let me know inside the chat group. Are you going to pick up or are you going to put down? So what do you think? What do you think about this company overall in terms of the potential, in terms of the financial? If you think this is great, okay, you can just type in pick up. If you think this is not so good, okay, you can just try in put down. So either pick up or put down. Pick up or put down. Let me just wait for some of your response before I share with all of you. Okay, I see some of you say pick up now, pick up. Okay, from Sandra, Charlie. Yeah. Again, okay, for me personally, I love this company, and I do see that moving forward, the growth is going to be there. As like what the CEO mentioned. Okay, they do expect that growth is going to be maintained the same, or in fact even better. And yeah, definitely for me, I think at the current price point, I would say that this is definitely a company that I would pick up. Okay, this is a company that I would definitely pick up, right? And of course, some of you is talking about the trend. Of course, when I say pick up, I'm looking at just buying the share and holding it for the long term. Okay, please do not do any short term trade on this. If you want to do short term trade, make sure that you check out the technical analysis. And of course, for this, I would say that this is a company that you can buy, hold, easily for the next 5 years. Just let the company, just let the CEO do their job, and yeah, you just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, so